all of us would benefit. Growth creates a system where it's not a zero-sum game, where someone's success is someone else's failure. America will never rise up if we fall prey to the liberal progressive agenda that says someone's success means that someone is failing. Someone's success creates the opportunity for more people to succeed. That's how we rise up. That's how we create a successful America. And immigrants can be part of that strategy. We need to embrace the energy revolution in our midst, because it's going to create, over a long haul, high sustained economic growth. Allow us to be energy secure with North American resources. Allow us, frankly, not only to create higher wages, but lower costs for consumers. The best deal that most people in this country have gotten are lower utility bills and lower gasoline prices because of an explosion of energy found in our own country. We should have a North American strategy to sustain economic growth. And the fifth part of a high sustained economic growth strategy is to recognize that our budget will be overwhelmed with two things: debt service and our entitlement system. It will overwhelm everything else. We have to have the courage to fix this, preserve and protect it for those that already have it, for sure. But we need to move to a system to protect it for the next generation that is reform, that recognizes our demography has changed. Thank goodness we're all aging. The alternative is not so hot. If we do those things, we can grow at 4% per year. I know we can do it. And you know why? Because I had a chance to do the exact same thing as governor of Florida. We cut taxes every year totaling $19 billion. I reduced the state government workforce. It wasn't easy. I had tire marks on my right here. That's one mark. That's when we eliminated the protections of career civil service, which are stymieing the ability to pay workers for a job well done, and inability to fire workers that aren't doing a job well done, creates a lethargy that is not the way you want to have government work. Government should be our servant, not our master. So we reduced the number of workers by 13,000. Florida was one of two states to go to AAA bond rating. Compare that to the sorry state of affairs of the United States that had a credit downgrade because we haven't come to terms with our budget structural problems. They called me Veto Corleone because I really did veto 2,500 separate line items in the budget because it didn't go through the right process. We have a reserving policy because who knows, you might get 8 hurricanes and 4 tropical storms in 17 months. Maybe not here, but in Florida. When I left, there were $9 billion of reserves. We managed, by the way, to get through that traumatic time with $100 billion of losses in Florida. Some of you may have been down there when the hurricanes hit. No one heard anybody complain about how Florida handled it. Maybe in New Orleans, maybe in Louisiana, but not in Florida, because we did what was right. Our team had a servant's heart. We organized ourselves the right way. I led, and we fixed problems before they happened, and a lot of people are grateful for that kind of leadership. Leadership matters. We can fix the problems, economic problems we have, and we can restore America's leadership in the world so that our friends know that we have their back and our enemies fear us a little bit. Not to create war, but to create peace. The only way we create a more peaceful world is to have American engagement where you get it through peace through strength. And so I'm excited about this campaign. I honestly believe that we're on the verge of the greatest time to be alive. And here's my commitment to you. As you might have seen in the debate last night, if you follow me around, you'll notice that I'm not angry. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. I get why people are angry. But I'm not going to appeal to people's anger. That won't solve a single problem. It won't solve the problem that there's 6 million more people in poverty today than there was the day that Barack Obama got elected president. That should hurt all of us when people are stuck in poverty. It won't solve any problems of the middle class having median income declines year after year after year. The way you solve that is you win the election, getting people to believe it's possible to fix these things, and then act with civility to forge consensus to solve the problems. The big things in this country are going to require Democrats and Republicans working again. I know that sounds like a crazy idea, but for most of the 240 years of our history, that's the way it's been. And we have to restore that. It's one thing to articulately say how bad things are and why you're going to fight for we have to fix these things, which means that we also have to assume that the people that don't agree with us don't have bad motives. You start with that premise, and you win campaigning like this rather than like this, then we can fix these things. And we will fix these things. And when we do, we'll look back and say this was a time where there was a lot of uncertainty, where there was a lot of fighting, but somehow, some way, as we've always done it as a country, we managed to come together to fix things, to move forward. That's why I'm running for president, and that's why I would love to have your vote. Thank you all very much.
I'm on my way to see my parents, and everybody's asking about my dad. I've got good news. He's getting off his medication, which for him he's recovering faster than the doc thought. So once he gets completely off his medication, his prize will be he'll get to drink a dry martini. At the age of 91, he can do whatever he wants. And he's got a wonderful caregiver taking care of him, is my mom. And so life is good.
So now's the part you're all here for. So, questions? Wow. No, right there. That's the back over there.
That's you. We got to get a mic for you. Great acoustics.
Thank you for coming, and I'm very happy that you care so much about the poor and the military, and we want better benefits for the military. But my question is, I'm going to read this.
Sure.
Right? So much money is spent on our military, and so much of it is on our combo, and I think we probably talked about this a little bit. And we agree on contracts for certain amounts of money, and say it's $1 million, then it goes over, and there's no accountability at all.
Right.
We have past politicians that are lobbyists, we have past military generals, and sometimes that's good, but they obviously have to pull the strings and get things done. My thoughts are we do need more money for education, we do need more money for the poor, we want to make sure that the military has the best benefits ever, but we're just spending too much money on certain contracts with no accountability at all, and someone's got to do something about that.
So, great question. And a couple of weeks ago, I gave a speech about how to change the culture of Washington. Because if we're going to change the healthcare system or change the whole regulatory system, and certainly our tax code, and the great prize at the end is consensus on how to move forward on entitlements, because that's where just the growth of the government is going to overwhelm everything else. We have to change the culture of Washington. I made a couple of proposals. Some of them were apparently controversial. I'll give you the one that people got most mad about, which is that members of Congress, if they don't vote, if they're not there, I suggest they get, like we would if we were working in a business, if you don't show up, you don't get paid. And actually the norm in most places in the country, to be honest with you. That's in Tallahassee, you have to have an excused absence. And generally, people show up and do their work. Secondly, if you're an elected official, there should be a 6-year ban on coming back and lobbying the people that you work with, your colleagues. That's commonplace in many parts of the country as well. Thirdly, we need procurement reform. And this is the place that I think you're getting to, which is it's not just the Defense Department, but these big, huge defense contracts are extraordinarily expensive. And John McCain now has proposed significant reforms to deal with this. There's some things that you can do to break out the contracts, so only not just the 2 or 3 biggest defense contractors can bid on them. And there's another way to phase it in so that you're constantly adapting, so that by the time you get the system built, or whatever it is, the technology is not obsolete. There's a way to lower costs and make it more effective. Third, we need civil service reform in Washington, D.C. This is, take the Veterans Department. The Veterans Department, there was a reform last year after the scandalous behavior of waiting lists where people got bonused, and the waiting ambulance went down because the vets didn't get care. That's not the intent, obviously, of what the system was designed for, but it's scandalous. In fact, it was people have lost their lives because of it. You would have thought